If it's light enough to read a book, it doesn't matter if it's sunny, cloudy, rainy, windy, snowing, you should be wearing sunscreen.
Kari Gran turned a personal health challenge into a movement for natural, luxurious skincare, raising the bar and helping women redefine what it means to age with power, purpose, and radiance.
American women are a little oil phobic because we thought it would make us break out.
That's what we were taught.
Every oil has different ability of penetrating the skin. That was the inspiration for the line.
What's the secret inside this?
The magic is it's formulated with, in essence, the intersection of sun care and skincare.
What do you recommend for the age spots that pop up?
Two things, actually.
Kari, it is so awesome. I'm telling you, I've been so excited for this show. You are one amazing woman, and your journey has been incredible, to say the least.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, here's the thing. What we're really focused on is in today's world, I think that there's a lot of bad information around skincare, a ton of bad information around SPF, around what you should and shouldn't do. And my goal is that everybody listening from this show is going to walk away having some new steps that they can take that will actually make a difference and improve their skin. So that's the goal, okay? I think we can hit a home run here.
I think we can.
So you have had an interesting journey to get to the healthcare, skincare space. And I call it the healthcare because you're really trying to make a difference in what we put on our body and what really can impact. But there's a relaunch story here. And I would love to share that because I know that it also started not where we would think it would start, at a different age in your entire development. So let's hear your relaunch journey.
Well, I'll take it to like when I was 29, because that's when I was diagnosed with Graves' disease and Hashimoto's, which are both autoimmune forms of thyroid disease. So up until that point, I had never felt particularly great, but I'd lived my life, gone through college, had a career, and didn't feel well, like regularly, did not feel well. And
always since you were young, you were just like,
yeah.
What was it? Like you're saying, I didn't feel well. What didn't you feel?
I didn't feel like I was any way attached to myself. I had headaches. I had a ton of fatigue. I had hair loss. I had incredibly dry skin. I had heart palpitations. I had hot flashes. The only time I've ever had hot flashes was in my 20s.
Yeah, this sounds a lot like menopause. It sounds a lot like the things I've been dealing with.
Right?
Okay. But this was happening to you when you're 29, but as you're saying, it was actually happening much earlier.
Much earlier. And so knowing what I know now and knowing that when you're diagnosed with something like that, and what I didn't understand was when I was diagnosed and I had radioactive iodine treatment, radiation treatment, essentially to take out my thyroid, I thought I just was done with it. It was in the rear view for me, and it wasn't. And so that's when it wasn't until my mid-30s, and I had a really thriving career in the real estate industry that was kind of a 24/7 go job, that I realized, oh no, you're going to manage a chronic disease for the rest of your life. And on the menopause topic, what's really interesting is that many people who have autoimmune disease issues will start menopause early. So
Let me ask you a question before you continue. Your thyroid. What does your thyroid do for you?
Your thyroid is essentially it controls so many systems in your body. First and foremost, the one that women think about is metabolism. because it's like it manages your weight. If it's too high, you can drop a lot of weight. If it's too low, you can magically gain a lot of weight. It doesn't matter what age you are, but it controls, it's one of the master hormones in your body. And it's also like, it was described to me as a thermostat. So when your thyroid is with autoimmune, what happens is your body attacks a healthy organ system. And so it makes it very difficult to manage because there isn't a real rhyme or reason to, oh, if I do this, then this will happen. There's no cause and effect. It's just kind of like a free for all going at any given time. And so stress can impact it, a poor diet, not eating regularly can be a big impact, not getting enough sleep, not moving your body. It's like those things are non-negotiable when it comes to those sort of management. But what complicated matters, we didn't have the conversation around menopause that we are now. And so I was one of those people that saw a neurologist, I saw a cardiologist, I did CAT scans because I had all these weird symptoms. I had the burning tongue syndrome, which is a symptom of perimenopause and menopause. And so they,
That's the only one I haven't had yet.
oh God.
I had the itchy ear.
Yeah,
That was a
the
weird
itchy
one.
ear. I developed allergies. I had a sinus, it just, I got hives. So it was like all of these things. And because I was in my early 30s, that was off the table as part of the conversation because I was too young. Technically, I was too young.
Gosh.
So I am so delighted that we are now having that this is like out in the open, because what happened from 2002 forward with the WHI study and women's health, it's, yeah, I feel like sometimes I feel like I lost 20 years of my life, but in other times I feel like it's so great that we have this information now and we can share it.
So you mentioned the WHI, everything that came out around that.
Yeah.
Before we move on, let's share a little bit more detail around that and how that has changed, because I do think that when we go back to your journey and your story, it makes it even more relevant today.
Right. So in one day with a press conference, hormone replacement therapy was deemed like it was going to.
Wasn't it 2002?
Mm-hmm.
Is that?
It was 2002.
Mm.
And everybody was like, stop using, you'll get breast cancer, you'll
If you're
die,
on it,
really
get off of
get
it.
off of it.
Like, took
And
things away from us.
they took things away. And so the study now is actually, you can read it online if you would like to. And there are some very great resources. Dr. Kelly Casperson is one that really explains it in common sense terms. And then there's an amazing book called Estrogen Matters that I took into my then doctor after learning about it probably 10 years ago, because there is this, like, it's a controlled risk benefit analysis between a patient and their doctor. And I personally chose for my quality of life to address that sort of hormones for me. I mean, I take thyroid hormone. I don't have a thyroid
You removed one. Is
the
the other one?
the thyroid is a little butterfly shaped gland here. And
So you
so
remove. Okay, so it's all gone.
it
That
is
tells
by
you how
way
much
of
I really know about the.
radiation. Mm-hmm.
Okay, by way of radiation, and
So I
at
don't
that
have an alternative. I have to take
you have to.
replacement hormone. It's not,
You
it's that or goodbye.
So you had this. You had to take out your thyroid, and you then your journey kind of took a shift, because what were you doing prior to getting into the beauty business? And then what was the shift? What was the relaunch that was like, I can't do this anymore. I have to get involved in this?
So prior to this iteration of my life, the second act, I'd call it, I was in sales in real estate in a very niche market in Seattle, high-rise condominiums. And I had a really wonderful career. I really enjoyed my job. It was stressful, but it was also rewarding because there was a service element to it. And I just have that kind of built in to my nature. But there came a point where we talk about work-life balance. And I think that's kind of a bit of a unicorn sometimes, but it doesn't always have to be. But I was in a business partnership and it wasn't going to allow for that setup in its current iteration. And so I had to get a business divorce, if you will. And the only
Those are as hard as the other type of divorce, I might add.
so hard. And
Mm,
I planned a very thoughtful 6-month exit, and
mm.
didn't make it any easier. Probably
Yeah,
should have
you
ripped
know,
the
there.
band-aid off a little bit sooner, but I didn't. And so I jokingly said that in 2010, I took all the days off that I hadn't taken off in 20 years
Yeah.
consecutively, because it was really hard to take time off in that career, because you were helping people manage a very big decision in their life that was very stressful. And so you were a little bit on call. I wasn't curing cancer. I'm not a doctor, but it was a little bit like,
Well, and it was when they are available. When can
exactly.
they do it?
Yeah.
And so, oh, you're available tomorrow at 7? Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
free. You have to, or
Mhm.
you could miss out on that opportunity.
Exactly.
So
And
you got
so
this, you got this business divorce,
I did.
and
And I walked up to a ledge, honestly, hypothetical ledge, but
mm,
I really didn't have a plan. I was 42 years old. I wasn't really jazzed about starting over. I was at the peak of a really strong career. And my husband had said to me about a year before, he just said, "You've become so acidic and like you're
ooh,
just not
ooh, that's a
yourself."
stinger.
Yeah, and I thought, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to transfer that to my clients. I don't want to transfer that to
Mm,
anybody I know. And
mm.
so I just decided I needed to step away, and I didn't know what I was going to do next. So in so
This is so good. I love this. I love these types of relaunches. And I especially love where we're going with this conversation because I've got some real nuggets for people to use some of your products.
yeah, and so that's where it just became, every day was like I would do one thing, not 35. And in that year that I had off, I developed the skincare line for myself, purely as like just something that I wanted to learn more about. Um,
So, Carrie, are we talking like you're in your kitchen
mhm.
mixing like coconut and oils and like what do you do? Because I know I've done this in my own kitchen where I've read like, oh, the perfect avocado mask, and I'm mashing up this thing, I'm putting it on my face. My husband's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, were you interested in beauty and like products before, or like, how did that happen?
I jokingly say that I exited the womb asking for lip balm. Like it was just like, where's the lip balm? I need some lip balm on.
Mm,
And
mm.
I was one of those kids. I don't know if you ever had one of those big Barbie doll head things that you did its hair and its makeup.
Of course I did.
Mhm. So that
I loved it.
that was me. I grew up in a house with two sisters and a mom, and we were all very interested in the category. And I lived for the next gift with purchase during the holidays at the cosmetic counter from the moment I could wear makeup after sneaking it on when I was in grade school. So for me, it was just like I really loved the category. But it was about 2008 when I learned, um, actually on the Oprah Winfrey Show, of all places, there was a woman named Sophie Uliano that was on, and she wrote a book called Gorgeously Green. And what it talked about was the personal care products we use, how they go on our body and in our body, because our skin is our body's largest organ.
Mm.
So by that time, I had already clued into what I was putting in my body. I got really interested in Michael Pollan's work and The Omnivore's Dilemma, a book he wrote, as well as Food Rules, because I am a product of the Snackwell generation where fat was bad, fat free was great. And so we were like gobbling down these cookies that had no fat, but they were filled with
Exactly.
sugar. And one of the worst things you can do for your skin is eat a ton of processed sugar. So it was like, okay, so then I got like, oh, okay, I now I know, like, oh, it's important what I eat because that will help me feel, maybe that will help me feel better. So I was really clued into that. But I was not clued into personal care products. And so when I saw her on that show and I started researching, I just decided for me at that point in time, I wanted to utilize products that didn't have potentially endocrine disrupting ingredients in them, namely synthetic fragrance, phthalates, which is a plasticizer that makes plastics soft. So a lot of skincare packaging is soft and squeezable in plastic. And also anything that was in the paraben family. That for me was just like, if it could mimic hormone activity, I had enough going on in my system. I didn't
Right.
need any more added in. So it's not demonizing that industry, but it's like, oh, maybe I can do this and it can help with this. So that was my step in. And because of the perimenopause kind of really getting loud for me in my early 40s, my already thyroid dry skin was like reaching epic proportions of dry. And lotions and creams weren't cutting it anymore. They just weren't.
Well, I have to
So,
tell you, I I recently, in the last few years, moved from Bay Area, California, water
mhm.
all around, to all of a sudden I'm in Boulder, Colorado. And
Oh, oh, God.
I mean, I was like a grape
Yeah.
to a raisin. It just went like, it just
Mhm.
sucks it out. Like I couldn't put enough on my face. I
Yeah.
was just like, oh. And so I have to say that probably I literally can say this. My favorite product is your product right now. We're going to go into that, but I got to go back to
Okay.
you are you a mixologist? Are you mixing things up? Are you trying to put things how do you start to create a a product line like you have created? How do you even like begin that? Or is it just like mixing this and mixing that? You'd already got the knowledge. I heard that. You've read the books. You
Mhm.
were genuinely really interested in the dynamics behind it, in what you're putting in your body. But then like you went from real estate to all of a
Mhm.
sudden you're creating these beauty
A
products.
line. Yeah. So it started with the lip product. And
It's the
I,
greatest lip product ever. And it's not the one I'm going to say. It's not my favorite. Although it's very, very good in your line. It's there's something even better. But
yes.
it is amazing. It is amazing.
So
I have three of them.
the lip product was first, and that was the first thing I made in my kitchen more than 30 years ago.
No way.
Yeah. I would only do it during the holidays and I would give it out as gifts. And so that graduated to what is now our lip whip, which is in a glass pot because I was utilizing like a little plastic tube before. And so that had to go once I learned a little bit more about how, if I did this, how I would do it in a way that felt really good to me. So during that year that I took off, I was utilizing products that were oil based. And now that was
Ah,
something that came to me through a pretty strong yoga practice and Ayurvedic teachings. So, women in different parts of the world have been using oils on their skin for a very long time, centuries,
hmm.
like a very long time. American women are a little oil phobic because we wanted our cosmetics, our skincare to be oil free because we thought it would make us break out. So,
No doubt.
when I was,
That's what we were taught.
we were taught we
The
were using.
drier, the cleaner, like the drier, the more
Mhm.
you can strip everything away, the better.
Right. And so I had been like putting cream on at night, and then like it felt good for 5 minutes, and then it was like dry. I was dry again. And so when I used an oil line that doesn't exist anymore, it was called Duchess Martin, and it was based with rose oil. I was like, what is this? This is incredible.
Mm.
I think this is the coolest thing ever. So that was that was the inspiration for the line, because I looked at it and it wasn't, the first ingredient wasn't petroleum or mineral oil,
Mm.
which baby oil is that, and it kind of suffocates the skin. It doesn't let the skin barrier breathe, and the barrier really, it needs to breathe. It needs to bring things in, and it needs to excrete. So if you've wrapped it in saran wrap by way of a petroleum based product with a big molecule that sits on the skin and doesn't penetrate, then that's going to happen. So in addition to like understanding and reading the esthetician's textbook and doing some studying at a local college that trains a lot of our naturopathic physicians, I wanted to study botanical plant oils, their benefits, their uses. Have you ever heard of an oil being called a dry oil?
Yes.
Okay. So what that
I don't
means,
know what it means, but I've heard of it.
so every oil has a different specific gravity, a
Mhm.
different viscosity. It's a different weight. So like a tablespoon of one isn't a tablespoon of another. They will also have a different ability of penetrating the skin. So something that sits on top of your skin for a long time, like castor oil, a thick, heavy oil,
Mhm.
is not like a camellia seed oil, which is a drier. They're not dry. It's kind of a
I
misnomer,
see. That makes sense.
but they penetrate quickly and that feeling goes away. So it was really looking at almost like a food perspective. Well, I could eat avocado oil and I could put it in this. Well, I could eat camellia oil and I can also put it in this. Castor has been ingested for purposes that are not related to skincare. Our grandmothers used it for a very long time, and it helps move things along. So, I'm not going to eat the castor oil, but I really looked at it in a formulating perspective of how it felt on the skin and how,
Mhm.
when combined synergistically, it came together. So for me, it was important to have something feel good, smell good, and be packaged in a way that felt like I wasn't relegated to the bottom shelf of a health food store, because I wanted the experience of buying my skincare like I did my whole life.
So I have to say, I was introduced to your entire line through our producer, Kristen, and she was raving. She's like, "Hell." And I love products. I do. I am
Yeah.
like a product junkie.
Yep.
When I first started this podcast, at the end of every show, I'd say, "All right, rapid fire. What's one of your favorite products you use right now?" And I would go buy it. And then finally my husband's like, "You got to stop asking that question because we have way too much stuff in this house now." But with your product line, one of the things, and my audience knows that I've had melanoma.
Mm-hmm.
I am an avid. I got it when I was 30, right after I had my third child. And
Wow.
I am an avid sunblock. I put it on every day.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about what you
Yep.
suggest. I know what I do.
Yep.
But I ended up getting your essential tinted SPF 30. I wear it morning, and if all of a sudden I'm going out and I have to take
Mm-hmm.
a shower in the late afternoon, I put it on again. I have my husband has never complimented me so much on how good my skin looks
Wow.
since I have been wearing this. Probably for the last, maybe 3 months. I'm not kidding. Like I go out and people are like, "Gosh, you have the greatest skin." I'm doing nothing different except wearing your product.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So tell me what's the secret inside this?
So the magic is it's formulated with botanical oils. It's an oil based sunscreen. So it is in essence the intersection of sun care and skincare. It's almost an SPF serum. It it has the quality of oils that you would use in a facial serum in it. So for me, that was really important because I too, we're both relatively fair, and uh, the tanning bed of my youth is showing up now on my
Mm,
skin. And yeah,
mm, mm,
I
mm,
was a
mm,
baby
mm.
oil wearer.
Oh, so was I
Yeah.
in LA, Santa Monica Beach,
Hmm.
La Jolla Beach.
Yeah,
Oh,
and tanning beds. So
oh, I
that
did that too in
it,
college. I did that. Oh,
hmm yeah, so I did it, and the damage now that I'm 56 is showing up, right?
I'm 56 too, and darn right, I'm going to talk about what Kristen said right before we got on about age spots.
Yep.
Those darn age spots, and what product you recommend in your line for those, because I'm not wearing I always wear necklaces, but I didn't wear mine today so you could see. I got a good one going there. It just popped up. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
These things, and I wear sunblock.
Yep.
So let's talk about that. What do you recommend in your line for the age spots that pop up?
Two things actually. So
I have my pen and paper here. I'm writing this down.
vitamin C and sunscreen are like the BFFs of the skincare world. So your vitamin C is going to act as an incredible scavenger of free radicals. So it's got such a high antioxidant level. And that one is also oil based, which will make your skin feel really good, especially in a climate like yours. That is going to be key.
It
But
feels dewy. It
mhm,
actually, I've never used the word dewy ever, but it does. It feels like it's got a dewiness to it. It's not
mhm.
all dried out. It's amazing. So you have a vitamin C
We do have a
serum.
vitamin C. And so not all vitamin Cs are created equally as well, just like the oils are. So the most common ingredient used in skincare for vitamin C is L-ascorbic acid. And it can be sensitizing. It's unstable. It oxidizes quickly, and it's formulated in a water base. So that's number one. So that's the top three things on that. We utilize a product called THD, tetrahexadecyl ascorbate. It's like a big long word. But what it is, it's an oil soluble form of vitamin C. It's stable, it's not sensitizing, and it helps penetrate the dermal layer more than L-ascorbic. So I had sworn off vitamin C because I already had dry skin, I already had sensitive skin, and it kind of felt stingy and
That's
irritating.
exactly what I was about to say. Mine does. I don't use your product yet,
Okay,
but
cool.
mine does. I put it on first, right after I
Yep.
wash my face. I put
Yes.
it on, and it's like I can feel it.
Yep.
It's got a little zing to it,
It's
but I'm
got a
like,
zing.
ooh.
And so a zing is
Mhm.
not a good thing.
I was thinking, ooh, it's acting.
No,
It's working.
it's not a great sign.
Okay.
So that, and then it's got an oil base as well. So it's got the French plum oil, super high in antioxidants. It's got hibiscus seed oil. It's got a triple Nordic blend of oils, cloudberry, lingonberry, and sea buckthorn. So I don't know if you know anything about a Nordic environment, but it's harsh, right? So anything
Freezing.
that can survive in that climate has a
Mhm.
really nice profile for antioxidants. So it was like, and then the Swedish algae that we add to it gives it that soft, velvety feel, but it actually acts like a hyaluronic acid, which is a product that brings and retains moisture. It holds moisture in the skin. So it's this combination. The way I think about things when they come to the formulation process is like, we'll get to the sunscreen and I'll tell you my thought process behind that. But like, what oils are really high in antioxidants? Let me start there. What oils do I like the smell of? Let me start there. What oils feel really good on my skin when combined together? Let me keep that into the mix. And so, and then there's vitamin E in there as well. And that's also got an incredible antioxidant quality. So this is a great daytime first step to your skincare routine. And then no matter what you put on your face after that, you want to finish it with sunscreen.
Okay, but before you jump to the sunscreen, you put your vitamin C, and as you said, the big buzzword right now is the hyaluronic acid. It keeps everything in. Your vitamin C has something very similar, but
Mhm.
naturally based. Um, do you need at that point a moisturizer on top of that, or can you go straight to the sunblock?
It depends.
Mhm.
So if you live in Boulder, Colorado, you're going to need a moisturizer.
I can put like 20 layers on. Okay. So
You
I
can
got
add
that. Okay.
20, 30 layers and you're going to be fine. If you're in Hong Kong, you can probably just get away with that because it's
Yeah.
so humid. Like a humid
Right.
tropical environment versus a dry environment. I'm in Seattle, and even when I don't feel particularly dry or it's raining, I always bring it in because I am 56 years old and I don't have a lot of estrogen in my body anymore.
Your skin looks
And
amazing, girl.
thank you. And
Yeah.
estrogen regulates the moisture in your skin.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, and for some people, because they're oil based and you don't have a bunch of filler in there, it is a bit like utilizing oils are emollients. Water is hydration. Mixed together, that's what a classic moisturizer is. You've just got like pure, potent, concentrated product that you're applying. Just you don't need a lot because it's concentrated.
Totally. I got to
So,
go to the sun. I need to go to this SPF. You say SPS 30. Let's
yeah.
talk about this for a second.
Okay.
Why 30? Why 50? Why 100? There's lots of different things. Why 15?
Yeah.
Why did you decide on 30? And again, I want to talk about this product, how often you use it, when you should use sunblock, because there's been a heightened level of skin cancer
Mm-hmm.
and melanoma.
Yep.
It's happening in us middle aged women
Mm-hmm.
because we burned our body, because we thought, the sunburns was such a good look.
I know.
Mm.
I
Picking
know.
those like little bubbles off your chest.
I
Ooh,
know.
just like, let's get them, let's get rid of them so that we can burn it again tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So talk to me about how often are you recommending putting on sunblock, and more about this incredible product. And then I do need to ask you, what are we doing? I know that Kristen was a huge fan of something that she's like, it literally eliminated my age spots. We need to talk about that as well before we get off.
Okay. So, if it's light enough to read a book, rain or shine, you should be wearing sunscreen.
I want everyone to hear that again.
Full stop.
Say it again, because that's so good.
If it's light enough to read a book, it doesn't matter if it's sunny, cloudy, rainy, windy, snowing. That's where you need to wear sunscreen. And so, one of the things I think that people forget, or maybe they just don't know, I didn't really know until I took a deep dive into it, is UV light. We hear UVA and UVB, and those are the two predominant rays or the light sources. So UVB, think UV burning. That is what is going to burn the surface of your skin. UVA, think UV aging. That, yeah, that's the bummer.
Both of them sound terrible right now.
That's the bummer because a UVA ray is a longer ray than a UVB ray, meaning the B hits the surface about, like if you have sunscreen, ideally, bounces off. UVA penetrates deeper into the layers of our collagen and elastin, and that's the deeper layers of our dermis, and that's what we need to stay upright, right? It's the structural proteins in our body, the scaffolding, if you will. So UVB rays typically are not coming through clouds or glass. UVA rays are. So anybody who's ever driven a car for any period of time probably has more damage on their driver's side than they do on their passenger side. I know all of my sunspots, my hyperpigmentation are on my left side. There's this incredible photo. If you just Google it online, there's a truck driver in the UK and he drove truck his whole life. And so one half of his face that was adjacent to the passenger side, the collagen structure is all broken down. It's got the Xing, the cross hatching. The other side looks appropriate for his age. So I have what I call these, I've done on our social media. I call these my magic glasses because they have, they're transition lenses. So if I'm driving my car, there is UV protection on your windshield. If I'm a passenger and I look, I spend more time looking to the side, they'll tint immediately. You don't have UV protection unless you've added it to your car.
Interesting. But your glasses will go dark?
Yes.
No way.
Get a pair
No
of
way.
transition lenses and try it for yourself. If you're sitting inside by a window and it's gray out and you put your magic glasses on, they're going to turn dark. So that means you're getting UVA exposure that you would not be getting maybe in a room that didn't have any windows. So that's why if it's light enough to read a book, that's when you want to wear it, because the UVA rays are breaking down our collagen and elastin, and they're creating photo damage, photo aging.
As I'm sitting here in New York, we're here for about 6 weeks, and I'm under a huge skylight window. And I'm like, great, natural light. And I'm looking up, I'm like, uh-oh.
That's why we wanted to create a product that you would actually look forward to wearing because it felt good on your skin. I didn't ever put sunscreen on and go, my God, my skin feels great. It was always like,
oh, this really does make it feel
it's
great.
like,
how often do you need to keep reapplying? You know how they always say like reapply after 2 or 3 hours. Do you have to do that with makeup?
That's a really good question. So there used to be sunscreen and sunblock. Do you remember those days?
Yeah, absolutely.
So they've become combined to sunscreen. So they share the same monograph now because they're technically considered a drug. Sunscreen is a drug. And so there is one monograph that says reapply every 2 hours, especially if in bright sunlight between the hours of 10 and 2, you should wear protective clothing, large glasses. It's a common sense. If you're sitting under your skylight, you've got makeup on over your sunscreen, you're not sweating, you're not exercising, you're not touching it, rubbing it off, then you're probably okay to not reapply every 2 hours. But if you're out with your makeup in the elements every 2 hours, yes, I would definitely say reapply.
So Kari, I got to ask you this because this is an interesting one. How do you reapply sunblock when you have your blush on, you got your cover up on, you got all these different products sitting on top of the sunblock?
Yeah.
Are you saying you got to just put it on again and redo everything?
Well, that's only if you're out and about in the elements in direct sunlight and you're not wearing a hat. I mean, I don't know about you, but if I'm out and about during the hours of 10 and 2 and it's bright and sunny, and I'm not indoors for any reason, I am wearing a hat and sunglasses.
I wear a hat too.
And I'm wearing something around my neck because this is my biggest area of sun damage on my body. That and my forearms. And
okay, yours looks so good. Tell me what you're doing for the spots as I'm showing you my new spot.
No, that's the vitamin C. That is going to help with evening out
vitamin
tone
C
and brightening.
is going to do.
But then you have to protect it. So if you're utilizing any actives, like a vitamin C, like at nighttime, if you're using any sort of retinol treatment, you have to protect it with SPF every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Always have that. And I do have to say what I really like, I let this, before I put my makeup on, you tell me how long, and then I'll tell you what I do. How long do you recommend once you put the sunblock on? How long should you wait before you start putting your blush on, your cover up on? What do you suggest?
You just want it to absorb. So for me, it depends because some days I wear just the tinted sunscreen and then I'll just do my blush and everything else. If I'm putting foundation on, I'll typically wait 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah, I find it's usually about 2, 3 minutes that
Yeah.
I just I let it kind of absorb, and then I start to, add my stuff.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's an oil. So this is the thing with sunscreen that I think is why so many of us did not want to wear it every single day is water-based products, especially sunscreen, they dry down really fast. So you
Mm,
can move on to the next step really fast, but then they make you feel dry.
100%. Well, I have to say, there was a while there when I was in my oilier stage that I would use a matte sunblock,
Mhm.
and it would be like, which was great at the time. But then I kept using it as I got a little older and the wrinkles started to really
Mhm.
become noticeable. And the matte makes you look so much older
It does.
versus this oil and I'm even using medium
Mhm.
because it's summer now or,
Mhm.
close enough that I'm like, oh. And so I mean, I got to tell you, I love this product. Okay. Now, we have to wrap up, unfortunately.
Okay, I
It's
know.
actually gone over, but it's been so great. I'm super excited. We have a big event coming up in September, and I think we're going to be, I'm hoping you're even going to be there, the Relaunch to a Rich Life live event in Scottsdale, September 18th, 19th, and 20th, where we are going to continue to bring amazing new ways to take care of ourselves that we
Yeah.
really have to be thinking that we're not really normally thinking about, right?
Yep.
I don't think people think about great product and they're like, oh, that's so great. I love it. But you don't know what's behind it. With
Right.
you, we know what's behind it. And so
Mhm.
I'm excited because I think we're doing some fun things for that event with you. And how can people get your products right now? What's the best place to go to find out more, to look into this? And honestly, everyone, go out and buy the Essential Tinted SPF 30.
Mhm.
You can use a little bit, like I got the medium. You know how fair
Mhm.
I am. It gives me a little bit of color. But where can we go to get these products?
We have a list of retailers on our website, as well as we ship direct from our facility in Seattle, and we're really fast. So,
And is there a special promo for our listeners?
yes, we can definitely do a special promo for your listeners. Why don't we do 20% off, and we will call it Relaunch 20.
That works.
Okay.
That totally works. I love it. Relaunch 20 and you can get 20% off your
20% off.
first purchase. Amazing. I think that once people start to use one, it happens to me all the time. I start to use one, I go to buy it again, and then I'm like, oh, and then I wanted the lips, and then I wanted, some of these other products. I don't have them right here because we're in New York, but the other couple products I bought are at home, and I'm excited to go use those as well. And I'm going to get the sunblock right now. I'm so
Yes, and
excited.
the sunblock, even the tinted, when you look at them online, they look like a foundation, but
Mhm.
they're so sheer. It just adds, like you said, like I can even wear the medium on the days that I feel like I just want a little more color to my skin.
Oh, so yours, are you talking about the sunblock, not the vitamin C? Vitamin
No,
C is the first layer.
the vitamin C is the first layer.
Okay. And then you're saying even us fair girls
Hmm.
can
We can
go.
use the medium. It's just enough pigment to mitigate any white cast that a zinc oxide can leave behind. So
Amazing.
zinc, the telltale of a non-nano zinc is that it will leave a little bit of a white cast, but it also, if you feel like it's too light, it's the perfect primer for makeup.
It
Perfect.
really is. I'm telling you, and you don't have to wear anything over it.
Mm-mm.
Amazing. Kari Gran, thank you for being here.
You're
What an
welcome.
awesome show. Incredible. You have really created a great product, and
Thank
I'm
you.
super excited to get it out to my audience and to share more about your relaunch story. And so, thank you again for being here and for being so generous and offering that discount as well.
You're welcome. Thank you. Look forward to seeing you in September.
I am too. I'm excited to have you in person. That'll be wonderful. So, everyone, as you're thinking about what Carrie and I just talked about, can I please ask you, make sure you're going to the dermatologist,
Mhm.
put it down just like you get some of the other, just like you get your mammogram. You have to be checking your skin. And you think, well, You can see everything on the front side, but you can't see the backside, the backside, the backside. And when I got my melanoma, it was in my inner thigh. And I can tell you right now, I was not on the beaches in California with my legs spread. It sneaks up on you in so many crazy places. So please, please make sure you're using an amazing product that does its job, like Kari's incredible product, the sunblock and the vitamin C. They're kind of like the double whammy.
Yeah.
And make sure you're getting yourself checked.
Yeah.
Super important.
And we just today, it's so funny that we're talking today, just found out that we were part of EWG's Guide to Safe Sunscreens for 2025 again.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And
That
I had
it
my
should
skin
be.
check yesterday. So look at that. It's just like all lining up.
It, you know what?
And
Good
it's
for you.
humbling.
And you do.
It's humbling, but it is good for you. So
It
once
is,
a
yes. You
year.
have to stand there naked and they look under and make sure they lift your boobs, although mine don't really need to be lifted. But make sure they're checking everywhere because they can, when they catch it early,
Yeah,
gosh,
it's so
that's the
good.
greatest thing. It doesn't, it doesn't leave the big scars and you're
Yeah.
in much better shape. So everyone have an amazing week. We'll be back next week. Live now, love now, relaunch now. Check out the things that we're working on right now. Be at the event with Kari and me. We're going to be like bringing additional amazing, amazing content to you, products that you're going to want to be knowing about and using. And so we'll see you then. Everything that we talked about today will be in the show notes, whether you're listening on any of the platforms. You can look at the details behind this specific show, and there will be all of the links. Everyone, again, thanks for being here, and we will see you again next week. All right, your next level is waiting. Thanks for tuning in. This is amazing what we're doing right now. Relaunch into a rich life. If today's episode sparks something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Please share it. I'll tell you more later about how that actually helps you have more success yourself. Subscribe so you don't miss one episode. Let's create unstoppable momentum together. So until next time, keep relaunching, keep rising, and remember, it's go time.